And good morning, everyone. Welcome to this day. It is Monday. Really, the hottest day will probably be today, which means so far this year, this is going to be the hottest day. All right, I'll tell you about the weather in just a moment. On our show today, we got a segment with Third Mutual Board President Rosemary DiLorenzo, primarily talking about two different things. You know, elections are coming up, and so they are going to have an election event where if you want to run for the board, you can find out more about that. A meeting coming up towards the end of this month. Also budget season. So those are the two main topics we're going to talk about. And Eileen is here, Eileen Ordway from the Village Library. Always good things happening there. We'll see if she has any kind of summertime programs out for the library. I know they usually have something like that. Or just go over there and get a good book and sit by the pool. It'd be a good day for that. And also we have a doctor from ATP Clinical Research. We're going to find out what they're all about. And a segment from RadNet as well. Now, as far as meetings go today, GRF, you know, again, we're in budget season now. And so both of these have to do with the 2020 budget. The first one at 9:30, they're going to be going over the fees. So fee review meeting, and that is really about you know, the fees for the clubhouses and rentals of the different spaces and things like that, and other things as well. Anything that there's a fee is charged for, they're going to be reviewing that at today's meeting. Now, if you're watching us in the morning, that starts at 9:30. Later on at 1:30, they're going to be doing the capital review plan. That's a big one because capital expenses are what's happening throughout the village, what they need to buy, what they need to improve on, and things like that. So two big meetings going on today. Now, as far as the weather goes, well, as I said last week, we're going from below normal to above normal. We went way above normal. This time of the year, June, we get the June gloom, upper 70s, 77, 78, that's normal. We've been below that, and you saw over the weekend, we got above that. We really shot up yesterday. Some areas were over 100 degrees, and today, I might be a bit conservative. I put 87, but you know, I look at three different sources and I kind of put the middle number in there. So I'm going to say 87 to 88 degrees. At our house yesterday, we were in the high 90s. One of my temperature gauges showed over 100, but I don't think that's out in the middle of the sun. So I'm not sure if that was accurate, but very warm today to hot for this time of the year. Hot for this time of the year. Tomorrow, then we're going to start to go down more normal conditions. So cooler on Wednesday, again normal, 77, 78 or so, and then we're actually going to drop below normal all in 1 week here, Thursday and Friday, and we will welcome back that coastal fog. So we'll get a little bit of that fog on Wednesday and then more so on Thursday and Friday. Let's take a look around the county and beyond today, and yep, look at 110 in Palm Springs today. You know, again, even for Palm Springs, that is way above normal for them. You usually don't see that till you get till July and August when they're in triple digits like that. So 110 out there. Everywhere else you can see will be in the 90s to low 80s or so, or excuse me, the upper 80s to low to mid 90s. Even the beach communities will average about 83 today. So, you know, another warm, hot day, but that'll last till tomorrow. Then things will start to cool off. So into nice, pleasant, more normal conditions for June. All right, we'll be back in just a moment.
Did you know there are over 400,000 seniors in Orange County today? So where does a senior or family caregiver go for information and resources? You can turn to the Answers Guide published by the Council on Aging Southern California. Answers is full of articles and resources to help you navigate the aging experience. You can pick up your free copy today at the clubhouse nearest you or at the Social Services Office. The Council on Aging, helping seniors remain healthy, connected, and protected.
Welcome back. With me right now is the board president of Third Mutual, Rosemary DiLorenzo. And Rosemary, it's a busy time of the year right now. Of course, into the budget season, and also, believe it or not, elections are just around the corner, right?
They certainly are, and we basically have worked on restructuring our communications committee, and they're very involved with Eileen Paulin, who is the director of our communications department, and we're putting our plans together to get people excited and interested in running for the board.
Let me ask you about an event that's coming up, an election event, and this is Thursday the 27th in the afternoon. I believe it's at 4 p.m. And I know you're doing this. I know a few other people are doing this. You know, each board is doing this. Tell us what this is about and what's the purpose of this.
You know, we were really lucky last year to work with Eileen on trying to, working on getting candidates for the board. So this year they suggested that we have we can't call it a meet and eat because we're not really eating except for hors d'oeuvres. I call it an election event. We're having a meeting or a function in the boardroom at 4 p.m. on Thursday, the 27th. And we're going to basically ask people to come if they're interested in running for the board, if they would like to find out some information about being on the board. We also invited our CEO and our COO to attend, and of course Eileen will be there. We're going to invite a few past board members who were our superstars and who, might be able to talk about what it was like to be on the board.
Yeah.
The biggest thing that we want to do is we want to either get people to run for the board or talk about people who they think might be good board candidates. But we want people to understand that you don't have to be an engineer. It's wonderful if you were a teacher. You could be any number of, we just added a board member who's doing an outstanding job, and she's a nurse. Of course, we all feel like half of the time we need a nurse, but that's neither here nor there. So, your background is good and it's important, but sometimes your background, you don't have to be a board member. You could be an advisor to a committee.
Right.
But being on the board is just your desire to make a difference, I believe. The biggest challenge that we have is people think, oh God, I'm going to be on the board, I'm going to be working 60 hours a week or whatever.
Right.
And it isn't. There's certain times of the year that it's busier than others. These few weeks are busy. But, people go on vacation, people have a life. You're allowed to miss meetings, because you have family responsibilities. You want to go on away, So, and we really are try to limit the number of meetings. The only monthly meetings we have are finance, because we believe finance is so important to the community, but also we have the board meeting and we have an agenda prep meeting. Otherwise, all of our meetings are every other month, sometimes once a quarter, just to keep us on target. Right. But so we want to talk to the people about that, and just if people have questions, we're going to make sure that's part of it. And so I hope it'll be, I know it'll be a good event.
Yeah, and we'll remind people when we get close to that, but again, it's the 27th, Thursday at 4 p.m. in the boardroom?
Yes.
It's going to be? Okay. So if you're interested in running for third, finding out about it, whatever the case may be, put this on your calendar because it'll give you a good opportunity to get an overview, ask questions, and see if it's right for you.
And we are going to serve some light hors d'oeuvres, and somebody, of course, was joking and said, do I have to put a lid on my cup? You know how we have that rule with coffee? And they said, because I think they're serving wine and water. And we said, no, we won't have to put a lid on for those.
All right, well, today GRF has a couple important meetings. They're doing the one on fees and things, and also on capital costs. Again, we're looking at the budget for 2020.
Yeah, we had a meeting, we had a number of meetings with our new CEO, Jeff Parker, and we expressed our concern about the fact that in the housing mutuals, we have so much to do, and in some ways we feel like we give too much of a contribution to GRF. And we would like GRF to review what they're charging, because on some things, the residents, those are all the residents, pay for 85% of the costs of doing something. And so there's a lot going back and forth with shared costs and whatever, but 85% to me isn't shared. That's way beyond shared. So we brought that concern to to Jeff when he was first started, and he said he already looked at that and noticed that, and unless we make changes, which we're very happy that that's the approach that he wants to take, very financially sound approach, we're never basically going to get out of where we are, you know, and not that we want to make architectural changes and make the clubhouses look like palaces, but we have to do things. We have to do some more things with landscape. We are doing a lot of things with plumbing and third, and we know that, you know, the assessments increase a little bit, but we don't want to just go crazy. So we feel that GRF has a responsibility for this. This too. So that is what the approach that he's taking, which we're very excited about. We said we'll see, but and so that's what they're going to talk about on Monday morning. So the board members are all going because we're excited. We hope residents come in. They're going to be talking about fees. Yes. In the afternoon at 1 o'clock, they're going to be talking about the capital things that they would like. And I know last year there was a big to-do because people were asking for money, for a lot of money for the Performing Arts Center. And we're sitting there going, what is the return on investment? You know, so I'm sure there are going to be a lot of things that are going to be coming up. It'll be a lively day. Okay, all right, but good meetings to go to. And you know, along with that, as I get into July, you have more of the budget review meetings. Of course, in August, it's sort of getting to the very end of where you do final presentations of them. We on 3rd met. We had our pre-budget meeting and another pre-budget meeting because we wanted to, and we had a strategic planning meeting for the board. We wanted to list all of the things that we thought were important. We gave them to the department heads and had them come back to us with that they think is important, and then what could we afford to do. So we've reviewed that the first time, and Jeff was there also. So now they've given us their notes back, so we're going to review them again. And I think we have, and the exact dates will be coming out. I think it's something like July 2nd, 3rd, we'll be reviewing them again. These are all open meetings, and so people are invited so they could find out, you know, what we're planning on doing. So the board together has worked very hard on this. All right, yeah, important meetings. And also another important meeting, although it's not for a few months from now, pretty soon you start to prep for this, and this is the end of the year meeting. It happens in October. But 3rd. Still, this is the time in a month or so you start kind of bringing things together. And we have to talk about, and it's done every year. Last year they did a wonderful job putting it together. And we don't want to put pressure on staff to be doing this, you know, at the last minute. But like we've already come up with some of the things, you know, hopefully our lighting will be more settled by then for our street lighting projects. But, you know, we made the change, 3rd made the change with Roundup. You know, we were doing a lot of Shepherd's Crook. We're doing a lot of fencing repairs. So what we do is we make a list, and we ask all the board members to send information on this list. And then Eileen's staff goes out and takes pictures, you know, so that we have a good presentation for the residents. So this gives them a little bit more time. So I already have my list started. I carry it around. Now, a couple things. Street lights, that's been ongoing for quite a while. There's been a couple, 2 or 3 up, different styles. And you're going to put some more up for part of the Extend the Pilot program? Yeah, the thing is that when, and our new CEO wasn't here when we had put all this together, and we feel that the pilot has to do a bit more. So they went back to the people who we're working with, and they're going to have, I think, 3 more pilots because they wanted it in like a cul-de-sac and whatever. You know, we're always going to have situations because when it was constructed here, the lights are all on one side of the street. So for us to get all the lighting we want will probably mean that next year or the year after, we might be wanting to put up additional light posts in certain areas. So new pilots, I think there are 3 new pilots are being worked on. And as soon as we get the dates and the locations, I know that Eileen will do a good job of promoting this so that the residents know, because we asked for their input, and we had some really wonderful input on the last one, which is why we're going to the next one. All right, very good. And we'll, once we get that information, we'll talk about that. Yes, absolutely. All right, finally, you have a new treasurer on your board, and
it's not a new member.
No.
But it's somebody who's taken over the treasurer duties, and of course that's John is doing that,
Right.
and because Jack, who's still on the board, is not going to be the treasurer.
Yeah, Jack isn't feeling well, and he's such a wonderful person.
Yes, he is,
but
really nice.
He said he wants to stay on the board, but he wants to, so we had an election, and John won hands down. I mean, he was dying to do it. He's,
Yeah.
you know, so we said, okay. And he ran his first finance meeting the other day, and he did, and this is a new experience to him, the way we budget, so he's very into it. And I know that he will be a continuing great part of the board, because he'll be able to grab this, and the new president next year will have somebody who rely on.
Right.
Notice I say new president.
Right.
Because my term ends in October
Right.
3rd, and I can't run again because I've been on for 2 terms, and
Okay.
I have loved every minute of it. And I know that when people, and we hope people run for the board, because when you do, it is such a rewarding experience. It really is.
Yeah, that definitely. I hear that all the time. Anything else you'd like to add for
No,
today?
we talked about, just about everything. Just please remember the election and how important participating is to the community. And if you don't want to run on the board, run for the board or be on the board. Maybe you know someone who would be a great candidate.
Right.
That's how we found Roy, because somebody knew him and they recommended him. So that's how it happens a lot. But if you know anybody, we're going to ask you,
Okay.
let us know. And and if you ever hear that it's 60 hours a week or like a job, that's not true.
All right.
It's maybe 40. No, I'm kidding.
Okay.
No, it's not. Some weeks are busy, but some are okay.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you very
for coming
much.
on.
It's
You
great.
take care, and we'll be right back.
Before the next earthquake, take 30 seconds to refresh your memory about these important disaster preparedness tips. Make a family emergency plan. Decide how you'll get in touch with each other, where you'll go, and what you'll do in an emergency. Build a disaster supply kit with enough water, food, and emergency supplies to last at least 3 days. It's important to have disaster supply kits for work, cars, and pets too. Find and fix items in your home that might hurt someone by moving, breaking, or falling during an earthquake. Know how to react safely when the ground shakes. If you're inside, stay there. Remember to drop, cover, and hold on. Drop down onto your hands and knees and cover your head and neck with your arms to protect yourself from falling objects. If you can move safely, crawl under a sturdy desk or table and hold on to one of the legs until the shaking stops. After an earthquake, help people who are hurt or trapped. Call 911 for emergencies only. Check your home for damage, including gas or water leaks, damaged wiring, or downed power lines. Protect your family and your home by making a plan, building a kit, and practicing disaster drills at least twice a year. Be sure to visit readyoc.org for more information on emergency preparedness and alertoc.com to sign up for emergency alerts and notifications. We want you to be prepared for a disaster just as much as you do.
And welcome back. With me right now is Dr. Gus Alva, and he's with ATP Clinical Research. They're located in Costa Mesa. I'd like to welcome you.
Thank you
Welcome,
so
sir.
much, Ken. Appreciate it.
And first of all, let's go over your background and how you started your business with the clinical research.
Absolutely, Ken. Well, there's a pressing need for new innovation in medicine. And a long time ago, a good 25 years ago, I got really deeply involved with genetics and neuroimaging and new drug development. I trained at the University of California in Irvine, served as chief resident, stayed on staff and helped run the clinical research division there for 14 years. And I kind of like that number. 14 years ago, we set up our own private shop in Costa Mesa called ATP Clinical Research. And quite fortunately, we've had an opportunity of actually helping with the development of every new medicine that's come out within the neuropsychiatric space since the early 90s. And particularly in memory deficit states, we've had quite a lag in developing effective and safe medicine. So that's what we're about.
You know, just out of curiosity, why do you think there's been a lag? Is it just because there's been a lack of understanding, or has it also been, and what I mean by that lack of understanding is years ago you think, well, they're getting older, their mind's gonna start to slow down. That's the way it is.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, specifically dealing with Alzheimer's disease, which is one of the most common neurodegenerative conditions that we face, there's about 5.8 million people affected right now. A good 200,000 of those 5.8 are actually less than 65 years of age.
Right.
But generally, when we think of someone over the age bracket of 65, we start to think, okay, there may be more vulnerability towards memory problems.
Right.
And you're absolutely right. We only have 4 medicines that are currently FDA approved for Alzheimer's disease, and that's too little. Because unfortunately, these are medications that don't arrest the problem, but they actually slow down decline. And when you think about a condition like Alzheimer's disease, it's not just memory problems, but it's also behavioral problems that set in. And so what we're currently working on are new tools that are safer and maybe more effective in countering some of those behavioral problems. Somebody might actually get a little agitated or a little irritable or labile when their memory is sputtering. And that creates a big challenge for the caregiver or the family of that individual.
Well, I know, some research has indicated, has to do with some of the causes of circulation, inflammation, and things of that. Let's talk about hereditary. Is that a major factor? If someone whose parents or grandparents had Alzheimer's, of course their grandparents, they probably didn't even realize, probably wasn't even called that back then.
Yeah, it was called senility back then.
Yes. Do they have, the possibility of a higher percentage of getting that?
Absolutely, Ken. So we clearly know the biggest risk factors for the development of Alzheimer's disease are getting older and having had a family history. On that note, we're actually very interested in that, and we're doing a true prevention study. So people that are between, say, 60 and 75, if they happen to be carriers of the ApoE4 allele, if both mom and dad gave them that allele, they are what's called a homozygous carrier, meaning they carry 2 copies. They could also be a heterozygous carrier if they're only carrying one ApoE4 allele. And those are individuals that we think are at greater risk for the development of Alzheimer's disease. And so because of that, we're actually doing a study where we're trying in patients or in individuals that don't have memory problems, but carry an ApoE4 gene. We treat them, and then we're tracking them over the course of 8 years and trying to see whether we might be able to prevent the problem from setting in.
What about people finding out if they have that gene? I know there's things like 23andMe and things like that. I've done that with the health and all that. I haven't looked at it really thoroughly now and then, but would something like that show up?
It would.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I better look at that closer then.
Yeah. Boston Heart Labs, 23andMe, all of those usually carry the ApoE4 gene.
I know one of the biggest problems with Alzheimer's is that it can be many years, many years, that it starts to manifest, but it doesn't even become noticeable for another decade or so. And that's one of the hardest things, right?
That's exactly why we're doing this prevention trial. But even in individuals that develop the problem, their memory might be sputtering, but then all of a sudden behaviors become really problematic. And that's oftentimes one of the key issues. People oftentimes become more forgetful. They oftentimes can't remember the names of common objects, get lost in places that previously would have been familiar to them. So Alzheimer's is a condition that's insidious, meaning it sets in very slowly and gradually and progressively gets worse. But it's not just memory that worsens, it's behaviors as well as a drop-off in the ability of that individual to function. So, like I make mention, when people all of a sudden start getting agitated and easily flustered and all of a sudden become a bit too much to handle, when they seek out medical help, the medicines that we have may actually increase their likelihood of death.
Wow.
So we have to come up with better treatments. And that's, for example, one of the studies that we're doing right now is utilizing a new medicine, which is a combination medicine that may actually help offset those behaviors, but also be safe in, again, its effect.
I know, again, one of the hardest things is the individual themselves may not realize it, and that frustrates them if their spouse or family member, son or daughter say, you know, Dad, you know, what's going on? You're not, you're forgetting this, you're doing that.
True.
Beyond the normal things that we all forget.
So true. So generally it's somebody that keeps repeating themselves or keeps asking the same question, and all of a sudden the family member or the friend or associate starts getting a little frustrated over, you know, geez, you keep asking or saying the same thing, and that's usually a telltale sentinel sign that something's brewing that might be problematic. And so whenever questioning that, it's not a bad idea to seek out help.
Okay.
That's part of the reason by which, again, we do so many investigational research trials at ATP Clinical Research, because we're a resource where, again, getting checked out is free, and if somebody actually makes it into a study, not only is the treatment free, and it's usually the most cutting-edge treatment that's going to be available, but they actually get a small stipend for being involved in the study.
Okay.
And if there's need, I mean, we can actually get somebody transported back and forth from this community over to our clinic.
Very good. Yeah, you're over by John Wayne
Exactly,
Airport, right?
in Costa Mesa.
How do you, as a doctor and your team, figure out, is this Alzheimer's or this is one of the many, many other forms of dementia?
Absolutely. Well, that's where it's important to actually do an assessment with someone and figure it out, because you're absolutely right. There could be other dementias, for example, vascular dementia, mixed dementias, frontotemporal dementias, Parkinson's disease with dementia, Lewy body dementia, corticobasal ganglion degeneration. There's a whole slew of different things that affect the brain. But 65% of memory problems are usually associated with Alzheimer's.
Do you see a time, you know, 10 years from now, it's hard to predict this, but to the point where they can develop an actual vaccine? So at least a person who says, I have a family history of this, can take it when they're younger, or whatever it might be.
Well, Ken, that's exactly the work that we're doing right now. That prevention trial that's ongoing, that we're recruiting for right now, is exactly that. So we're comparing an active immunotherapy versus a beta amyloid converting enzyme inhibitor pill to see which is going to be better in not allowing that dementing process to set in. In fact, we've also figured out that there are other things that cause inflammation downstream. For example, one of the other studies that we're doing right now, we've identified that there's this bug in your mouth called P. gingivalis, that if we're able to eradicate that, that may actually be curative, believe it or not. So the interesting thing is that we're making associations of what may actually be the root cause. For example, the main excitatory neurotransmitter in our brain is glutamate, and we're actually utilizing a medicine that can enhance that. So that's another one of the studies that we're doing. So the neat thing is that at our site, we have the availability of the most cutting-edge tools, not only in addressing cognition, but in also helping counter some of the behavioral problems that are oftentimes noted, just like the study that we were highlighting.
If somebody's interested in getting in one of your studies, we have information on the screen. You have your website and phone number.
Yes.
What do you do first? You have a phone conversation?
Absolutely.
And are you kind of get their history?
So let me, if you don't mind, I'll say the numbers. So 714-277-4472 is the direct line towards our clinical research personnel. So once again, that's 714-277-4472. And for our clinic, it's 833-487-2582. But that's for our clinic, because we get an opportunity of seeing a lot of folks, and it creates a natural seed to figure out who may be a good candidate for one of the studies that we're doing, and we can actually help them out just like they would get help anywhere else. But the nice thing is having the availability of additional tools.
And if you forget all that, just do a search, ATP Clinical Research. and you'll find it right there, and
Yeah.
the numbers are right there. And also,
atpcr.com.
and the doctor's information is there, and very easy.
Excellent.
All right, great to meet you, sir.
Ken, thank you very much.
Take
Appreciate
care.
being here.
We'll be right back.
With Alzheimer's disease, you never know what to expect. Dr. Gus Alba at ATP Clinical Research is enrolling volunteers 65 to 90 years old for a clinical research study evaluating an investigational drug for agitation associated with Alzheimer's disease. No charge to participate, and compensation for time and travel may be available. If you or someone you know is experiencing agitation, irritability, or aggression associated with Alzheimer's disease, visit atpcr.com or call 714-270-1472.
Thank you for joining us. Today I have Dr. Judy Rose, who is the National Director of PET CT for RadNet. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for interviewing me.
So tell me exactly what a PET CT scan is.
Well, PET CT scan is a specific piece of equipment that's a marriage between a CT scan, which is an anatomic picture of a patient, and a metabolic picture, which is the PET portion. Those two are two different modalities that are put together in one scanner and show us both anatomy and function or physiology of the patient. And that means for a patient who we're looking for cancer, which is the major reason for doing a PET CT, we can see metabolism of the cancer. We can see how it's functioning, not just a change in size, but is it actually an active cancer or a non-active cancer?
Okay. And then what can a patient expect when they're having a PET CT exam?
Well, the patient will arrive at the center with a certain set of instructions. Because we're going to be injecting something that's a radioactive substance, but it's actually sugar. So we have to have you be without any food or water for at least 6 to 8 hours, because if you eat a candy bar, that sugar will interfere with the sugar that we give you and our ability to see the cancer. So when you come in, you'll have a PET CT technologist who is a specialist in performing this exam, and they will give you an intravenous injection of radioactive sugar. Now it takes about 45 minutes for that tracer to localize in the cancer and in some normal structures. So we do see your brain because you need sugar to think and talk, and we do see your heart because it's very active in the muscle for pumping blood. So we see other organs, but to actually get to the cancers, it takes about 45 minutes of uptake time. During that time, you will be in a room with a magazine and a television, and you'll be able to just rest while we wait for the uptake time.
Okay.
Then you'll be brought in where the equipment is. It is actually similar to a CT scanner in that it has a donut, it has a hole, and you have to go through it. And the length of time it takes depends how tall you are. So if you're very tall, it's going to take a little bit longer because we have to go all the way from your eyes all the way down to about your knees. And if you're short like I am, it's going to not take as long.
Oh, I guess the short ones have the advantage.
Yes. So in general, most scanners 20 to 25 minutes. But your head won't be in it, but very, very short period of time. The rest of it will be down from your eyes down.
All right.
And then you'll be free to leave, and there'll be no side effects afterwards. You won't feel funny. You can go out for lunch, and you can enjoy the rest of your day.
Now you said they had to be free of food and water for 6 to 8 hours. Is that just a fasting the night before?
Yes.
All right, perfect. And then what advantage is there to undergoing a PET CT scan other than what you've already mentioned?
Well, traditionally and still, many oncology patients are studied with traditional CT scans, mostly of the neck, chest, abdomen, and pelvis. When you look at a CT scan, you're looking at only size and sometimes changes in the shape of a tumor, but that could be, once that tumor is treated, it may still be growing as it necroses, but it doesn't mean it's an active tumor. Or it could be a very small mass. CT interpretations are done by size, so you could have a very small lymph node or a place that the tumor can spread to that's below 5 or 8 millimeters, and it would be considered normal on a CT scan. But once you add in the radioactive sugar, we don't have that problem because we can see that the sugar is metabolizing in the site of the tumor. You can only do that if you have the test done as one entity. So it's much better for the doctors, because the referring doctors, because we can monitor your treatment. So if you have a PET-CT study done at the time of diagnosis and you undergo treatment, whether that be surgery, radiation, or chemotherapy, we can tell if you're responding to the chemo, or if you respond, or whether the tumor was completely resected at the time of surgery. Because if there's metabolism or sugar left, there's still tumor that needs to be treated, or you may not be responding to the type of chemo that you're currently administered.
Okay. And then in which clinical situation would a PET-CT scan be administered?
In almost all cancers, it is now approved and used for initial staging. That means at the time you present, to be sure. So if you come in and we see something on your chest x-ray or CT that has a mass, we don't know if it's just confined to the chest. So we will, about 40% of the time, we will upstage the patient. So they come in and they think it's local disease, but it is not local disease, which completely changes management.
Right.
We then, the second indication is once you've had either surgery or you're on therapy, to monitor the response to the treatment. And so we do it in follow-up to determine whether we see any more cancer, or the patient is or is not responding to treatment, so it needs to be changed.
Okay. And then we talked about radiologists in another interview that we had. What kind of radiologist would be specific to this type of exam?
Well, it's a very difficult exam to interpret, and it should be done by what we call an oncology radiologist or an oncologic radiologist. That is someone who is training in both the anatomic imaging, which is CT, but also in the metabolic or physiologic part, which is PET. So it should be a radiologist who can interpret both of those exams, and that is a PET-CT.
And the PET-CT or the PET exam itself is used for all different types of things.
It's used mostly for cancer. There is some work we do in cardiology, and we do a lot of work in neurology, particularly in the field of Alzheimer's.
Oh, that's great. All right. Well, thank you so much for the information. It was very nice to see you.
Nice to meet you.
And remember, if you want additional information about what we just discussed, please visit radnet.com.
#1 choice for wood flooring and more is LA Carpet.
Now during their 2-day sale, visit their showroom now and get 65% off wood flooring, laminate, and waterproof flooring.
Plus, get 5-year, 0% financing.
#1 for you.
Hi, I'm John Bowser Bauman. You probably know me best as Bowser from Sha Na Na, but I'm also president of Social Security Works PAC. And you know, when I'm in Laguna Woods, I always watch Village Television. Grease for peace.
And Eileen Ordway is here today with our Village Library. Always good to see you. Welcome back.
You too, Ken.
And as I mentioned, you know, we're just a few days away, a couple weeks or less from the official start of summer. And this is the time of year that people might want to reserve a book or a DVD or whatever it might be.
Absolutely. And we have a new display we're going to have. A couple shelves or sections down from our new bookshelves with staff picks. So we've asked all of our volunteers to let us know what their favorite book or movie or DVD is. And we're actually going to take pictures of those people holding their favorite item.
Okay.
And then also display the book. So here's our, Maureen is our, Lazar is our, what I consider our chief librarian.
Yeah.
She does the purchases and catalogs. And then Grace Hearsome, she takes care of all our problems. So she manages anything that needs to be repaired or if people don't bring their books back. So they're holding And actually, they're just their favorite authors right now. Their books, their favorite books were actually checked out. So when we took this picture, they couldn't do it. So they're going to have shelves with the people's pictures, holding their favorites, and then those books will also and movies will also be displayed on those shelves so that people can come in and check them out.
Very good. Now, do you also look ahead when people, maybe their favorite author, they know, hey, their book is going to be released this year? They can tell you that as well.
Yes,
so folks can
we actually have a feature in our catalog where we have 63 authors now, some of the favorite authors of our residents, and if they or us, we can do this for you. We can log into the computer under their account and say these are their favorite authors, and then if that author comes out with a new book, they will automatically get put on the reserve list. Oh, great. Yeah, so if they hear of books on TV or new DVDs coming out, they want to know whether we have it or not. They can call the library, they can stop in, they can do it themselves on the computer, so that's all searchable. One of the things that we have on our new bookshelf is the list of the New York Times bestsellers. So the ones in pink are ones we have. So if somebody could come in and see this and say, oh, I've heard about this on TV, and I'd like to see if we have it, anyone in the library would be happy to search the catalog for them. If it's already checked out, which a lot of these would be because they're popular, we can put it on reserve for them. So then when their name comes to the top of the list, and it comes back, we will contact them to let them know the book's now available for them to come and check out.
Okay, and you have something, vacation deferral. How does that work?
Yes, so if they do reserve an item, there might be a long list. So Bohemian Rhapsody right now, the last time I looked, 12 people were on the reserve list or waiting to check that out. So you might get onto the bottom of the reserve list and start to move up, but you have to go away for some reason. Your name might come up to the top of the list before you're back from vacation. And if that happens and the item sits on the shelf waiting for you for 3 days, we have to pass it to the next person. But we can go into the system and say that you're on vacation from a certain date to when you return, and then your name will stay up towards the top of the list. So then as soon as you're back from vacation and that item comes back, boom, you get it. You'll be next in line to get it. So you want to take advantage of vacation deferral, and I don't know if a lot of people know that.
No, I think that's a really good idea, because if you're waiting for something.
Happy to set that up for them too.
Okay. And Reserve Express, as you mentioned.
Yeah, 63 authors, and we can add authors to the list too if somebody, so we can, and also then they don't have to worry about keeping an eye out for when that book is actually available. Okay, so that's something else that you can do. Right.
Now, as far as people requesting certain things that you may not have, you can go ahead, like I said, and look ahead and see, is it out there and we just don't have it? Maybe it's a book that came out 2 or 3 years ago.
Right. Yes, people can request things. If it's on the, we have a system in the catalog that people can go in themselves. We could add it in, or we even have little yellow cards. People can come in and fill them out. To say they'd like us to purchase a book or a DVD. And then we have 2 committees, the book buying committee and the DVD buying committee, who reviews those requests in addition to looking at what's coming out in the marketplace. So for example, we have a book publisher, a publishing company that we use that we get a library discount to purchase new books. So we can see, we get a list from them a couple months in advance about what's coming out. So between that and the request list, these committees decide what we should purchase. And we have a pretty good idea of the kinds of things that will circulate in our community. So if somebody requests something that we think nobody else is going to check that out, we may not. But what we then do is we'll look and see if Orange County Library has it, and we'll let them know that that's an option for them.
Yeah, that's always an option.
Yes, because most people who belong to the library here also belong to the Orange County Library.
All right. So your hours over there are staying the same for the summer?
Yeah, 10 to 4 on weekdays, and Wednesday we stay open till 7. This past Wednesday, we were closed because I was not available and I didn't get a substitute, but we will be back
and
on
then
Wednesday till
Saturdays
7,
10 to 1.
10 to 1 on Saturday, yes.
All right, very good. Always good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Thank you very much, and we'll see you next time.
Yes.
Check out the library, and as Arlene said, if you're going away on vacation, you're on a list, make sure you take care of that because they can help you out.
Yes, we would hate for them to miss something that they wanted to see.
All right, very good. You take care.
Thanks,
We'll
Ken.
be right back.
I had been with another hospice for my husband, Ed. After about 2 months, I thought, they're not doing much for me. So I went to the computer and brought up the list of hospices, and there was OC. Their response was immediate. They did everything. They had all their ducks in the row, and that's what I was looking for. It was comforting till the very end. And then at the very end, the last 3 days, you know, it was continuous care and nobody ever left him.
Welcome back. As every Wednesday, we have AutoNation Irvine Toyota, and we've got Steve Smith here, who is the manager of the service department. He's got some great stuff to share with us. Welcome.
Well, good morning. Good to be back.
Yeah, it's good to have you here. So I understand that there are residents in our community who've actually seen you here on TV, and they have come to you guys, and they have sent you letters and thank you notes. Tell me about that.
They have. In fact, one of the guests was just in the other day. Her name is Annette, and she runs the committee that does the activities for the store. And so she was in, and we spent some time in my office and had a wonderful conversation. She told me not to be so nervous while I'm up here. So today I'm going to try to not be as nervous as I have been in the past and just talk about the things we need to get done.
Well, and you guys have a lot of things to get done. And as you said to me beforehand, most importantly is safety.
Absolutely. That's our #1 priority there. So make sure that every vehicle there gets a multi-point inspection. Every vehicle there, when it leaves there, is safe. The customer can feel safe. A lot of the letters that we're seeing the customers come in with that they don't know that is coming from Toyota is a safety recall. Okay. And so we can go through that letter with them and tell them if it applies to their vehicle. We can actually get that done for them. We kind of set up a Wednesday the last time we were here.
Right.
We set up a Wednesday day for the Laguna Woods. And in that Wednesday, we set up an alignment special for $89.99, as well as buy 3, get 1 free.
Right.
So we will continue to do that for our Laguna Woods guests. We also would recommend them to bring their safety recall letter with them, so we can look at it. Because sometimes even when the recall is completed, the manufacturer will still continue to send them that letter. And when it says on there that the vehicle could be involved in a crash situation or whatever, people panic. Okay. We just need to put them at ease and let them know it has either been done or we'll do it at the time.
So that's coming straight from the manufacturer, though,
Straight from the manufacturer. That comes directly from Toyota Motor Division.
Okay, and I know that you guys talked last time that we generally just kind of throw those things away. How can they distinguish the difference between just a regular sales type letter and that letter? On
that particular letter, it will have 2 red stripes on it on the top, and it'll say urgent attention. And so that's how they know. And so when you get something from sales, it's not necessarily like that. But when you get it from TMS and it says that, that's when you really should pay attention to it. If it says go visit your dealer, absolutely bring it in. Or once again, we put the number up there. They can call directly in. We can pull their history up and we can look at it and see if that campaign has been completed and take that peace of mind and just make sure they're okay with it.
So you brought this letter here, and is that what you're talking about?
I brought a sample of what basically the letter looks like. The header on that letter usually will have 2 red.
Hard to see, but okay, so it have red on the top.
Yeah, red on top, and then so basically the customer, when they receive that, then if they want to make that call, you know, before they take the drive down.
Okay.
And then they can do that.
Okay, perfect. All right, good. Now let's talk about possibly if somebody was interested in coming to the facility and, you know, maybe talking to you directly, and maybe you can give a tour. What if they just want to know what the service department's all about?
I would absolutely welcome that, and I would love to take them for a tour through the service department. Want to make sure that they wear the right shoes. Don't be wearing your high heels, but wear the right shoes, because, you know, techs are out there working. But if any of the guys would love, or even the women would love to come down, because we're going to hold a clinic soon. And we're going to show everybody where the spare tire is, where the jack, where the stuff is in case there is an issue or something. We just don't do that kind of things anymore, right? So, you know, if they do get stranded in a situation, at least they'll know. And, you know, I'm sure that every one of them have AAA. We are a huge AAA dealer. So we offer the AAA discount all the time, and we welcome the AAA members. So. But we're going to hold a clinic, and then anytime that any of them want to come down during the day, if they got nothing to do, they can stop by my office. I'd love to give them the 5-minute tour of the shop, show them the techs, any questions they have on their vehicles, go over it with them. Just spend some time with them.
Well, and you guys can have some coffee and chit-chat.
We have some coffee. Saturday we have donuts. So Saturday Donut Day.
All right. Well, Saturday Donut Day, and check out the service department. So let's just reiterate the Wednesdays again, because I want to make sure everybody knows that that is Laguna Woods Village Resident Day at Irvine Toyota, and you can call 949-585-6888 for either one of those promotions.
Absolutely.
Is that going to just go on for the month of May, or?
You know, we're going to open this up, and Laguna Woods will have Wednesday. They're going to be our Wednesday customer, and it will be strictly for them. We will have time slots for them. They just call that number, and we'll get them in and get them out.
That sounds great. All right. Well, thank you so much. Always a
also
pleasure.
with a free shuttle.
Oh, that's right. Don't forget the free shuttle.
Don't forget the free shuttle.
All right. Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And remember, if you have any questions, you can always call 949-585-6888. We'll be right back.
Are your hearing aids not working as well as you'd like? The person who programs your hearing aids is way more important than how much you spent on them. The good news is that we can help. I'm a retired electronics engineer who will precisely reprogram your hearing aids to your unique hearing loss. If that doesn't give you significantly better hearing, I won't charge you a dime. You have nothing to lose and better hearing to gain. So call Hearing Remedy right now and ask for your personal better hearing appointment.
And our movie coming up today is a real heartwarming movie. It's called A Dog's Way Home, and it's by the same creator of the book A Dog's Purpose, so the same author. It's about a little puppy, Bella, who finds her way into the arms of Lucas, a young man who gives her a good home. When Bella becomes separated from Lucas, she soon finds herself on an epic 400-mile-long journey to reunite with her beloved owner. Along the way, the lost but spirited dog touches the lives of an orphan mountain lion, a down-on-his-luck veteran, and some friendly strangers who come across her path. Good movie, and stars Ashley Judd, Edward James Olmos, and I've seen just parts of this movie, but I did see A Dog's Purpose, which we showed here before, and it's by the same author who wrote both books. So I think you're going to really like this. Good, heartwarming family movie. Now, coming up on Friday is a movie called The Upside, and The Upside stars Kevin Hart and Bryan Cranston and Nicole Kidman, so a good cast in this. And it's a comedic look at a relationship between a wealthy man with a quadriplegic and an unemployed man with a criminal record. So the wealthy man is obviously disabled. He's a billionaire, but and he feels like his life is not worth living. And to help him through his daily routine, they hire Dell, and Dell comes in. He's a parolee trying to reconnect with his estranged wife, and it's a really touching story. It's funny. You got great cast: Kevin Hart, Bryan Cranston, and Nicole Kidman. The Upside. It will be coming to you on Friday. All right, and a couple things I want to tell you about. Well, actually, the first one is Father's Day Brunch at the Towers. Now, this is sells out very quickly. I think there's still spots available. It's on the 16th, obviously, Father's Day. So if you are interested in this, it's $26 per person. Great deal, includes tax and tip, wonderful buffet, brunch. The number is on the screen, 597-4278, and you need to call. If you're interested in this, I mean, like, call right now, because this will sell out, and it's a great place to go. So happening this Father's Day, already Father's Day, on Sunday. Now, what's really neat, this is not for quite a while from now, but it's a farmer's market. The Garden Center Farmer's Market is going to be happening at the end of July. But the Recreation Department wanted me to tell you about this because if you're interested in getting involved with this, having a little booth, or perhaps wanting to participate or donate produce, that's part of this is what's going to be going on here, please give them a call, and that way they can set all this up. So the number is 268-2387, or email recreation@vmsinc.org. Again, this is not until July 27th, but they're starting to get people involved with this and get people behind the scenes and helping out, and to get a booth if you want, or a little setup. And if you have extra produce there, they'll donate it, or if you just want to go there and enjoy it, keep it on your calendar, July 27th. Beautiful weather coming up, as I said. Another hot day today. This could be the hottest day that we've had really since, well, all year. So about 87 degrees or so today at least. 85 tomorrow. We're going to bump that down on Wednesday, and then the fog will be returning. I think the fogs are going to start to come back a little on Wednesday, definitely Wednesday night, and then Thursday and Friday we'll get down to a little more cooling temperatures. Around the county today, everything is going to be quite everywhere from warm to very hot to Palm Springs being extremely hot, so keep that in mind. All right, you take care. We'll see you tomorrow.